All right, everybody, let's get right after it. We've got the head coach for the Penn State men's basketball team, Coach Micah Shrewsberry. Welcome to Everybody Pulls the Tarp, Coach.
Oh, I appreciate you having me. I got to do my part in pulling the tarp. That's why I'm here.
We're gonna talk all about it, and I'm particularly biased today because most of my listeners know that I am a Penn State Nittany Lion at heart. I bleed blue and white. So we talk to Olympians and pro athletes, elite coaches, CEOs, best-selling authors, you name it, on this show all the time. But when I get to see a Nittany Lion here, it's a whole different ball game. Coach, you were named the head coach at Penn State back in March. You've been in coaching about 20 years now. As you get settled in State College, when you think about your 20 years in coaching, what has been the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise since of getting here
into coaching. When you think about your career as a coach,
you know what? I didn't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you play the game and you think like everything. You're one of those players and I wasn't. I was an angel as a guy. My coaches loved me. I never gave them any feedback or anything. So, but you think you know everything, and then you get into coaching, and you're like, I don't know anything, and you kind of figure it out as you go, and you kind of move from one place to the next, and you pick up things here, and you pick up things there, and then you start to develop like who you're going to be or what you want to do and what your philosophy is going to be. But it takes a long time. And, like you said, I've been coaching for 20 something years and, I feel comfortable with it. But there's still so much more I want to learn. So I'm trying to pick everybody's brain that I can still now, even as a head coach.
So Coach, you get to State College, you and the family get there back in March. What let's stay on the topic of surprises. What's surprised you the most so far about Happy Valley, dear old State College, Pennsylvania?
You know what? You come here. I've only been here a few times before. So, I came as a coach playing against Penn State when I was at Purdue. And, you get here at night, you land, you go to the hotel, you don't see anything. Then you go from the hotel and you come to the arena. And that's it. Like, you don't see anything. And I don't know, you have no idea what Penn State is. You don't get a chance to see the campus. You don't get a chance to see downtown, the rest of the community, the mountains, just the beauty of this place. You don't get to experience that. So I got here at a great time. It's springtime. It was nice. The sun's shining. It's beautiful outside. Like, the scenery. I sit here every day and look out my window and, look at the mountain range behind me and just, appreciate what it is, what this place is, seeing how beautiful the campus is, seeing how nice downtown is and how compact it is. And you can walk to everything from your dorm room. Like, I love it. I love that part of it, but you don't know that unless you're here.
So have you found a favorite restaurant yet, Coach, or not yet?
There, unfortunately, my family's still not here. So I have eaten at almost every restaurant in town. I don't know if I have a favorite. I am, I kind of get the same thing and go with it every single time. So,
my wife and I, we had our first date at the deli. They're in State College. One of the tavern and everything that Pat Doherty does at the tavern is one of my favorites. I understand he's adding a rooftop deck, which is pretty cool. Coach, let's get back into what you have to do at Penn State, right? You have to come in and essentially build upon a program there that has found some success, is looking to have more success. What do you do as a leader coming into a new place? You've been forced to replenish some of the roster. How do you go about setting the tone for the culture that you want to have at Penn State for men's basketball?
I think we need to build off of the things that have been successful in the past. One of the first things I did when I got here was, I got a chance to call and talk to a lot of the former coaches. I called, Coach DeChellis. I called Coach Dunn. I called Coach Parkhill. I talked to them and really tried to pick their brains on what went right and what didn't go right. What can we build off of? And then you go, I've been in the Big Ten for 4 years, right? So I've played these guys. I know, that's the one thing that you knew is Coach Chambers was going to have these guys playing really hard. They were an aggressive team. Now, what can we take from that? What can we take from the former coaches and what they've talked about and kind of put that all together, but also make it kind of what I want to do as well and build off that, like build off how hard they play, build off John Hare and like his energy that he brings to his team. Like, build off of guys like Miles Dredd, who's been here, who's played big games in the Big Ten. Start there, start with that, and then build our culture and how we want to do it. So, I'm taking a little bit from everybody. I'm not afraid to ask questions. And there are a lot of coaches here on this campus who are having a lot of success. And, I'm calling and texting James Franklin. I'm talking to him about, the things that it takes to be successful here. Right. I'm talking to Coach Keeger and said, what did you do when you first got here? What were the things that you experienced your first couple of years to go with or to stay away from? Like, what mistakes did you make? And then, you go down the line. Like, there's a lot of great coaches here. And, we got, whether it's Russ Rose, who's been here a long time and had a lot of success, or it's, our Olympic, we got coaches coaching the Olympics right now. I'm calling everybody. I'm picking everybody's brain because, you can have success here. And I'm not afraid to ask how to do it.
You sure can. And how do you balance though, like regardless of whether or not you're a coach, a CEO, whatever, how do you balance the right mix of your own fingerprints on something and kind of what works for others or what has worked in the past? I'm always interested in that, Coach.
Yeah. A big part of that is, I can't try and be anybody else, right? Like, I have to be me in who I am. Like, I've worked for some really good coaches, but I can't be Matt Painter. Like, I can't be Brad Stevens. I can take ideas of what they did or what we had success with and mold it into who I am. But I have to be myself, and I have to do it my own way in the ways that I'm comfortable doing it. And like I said, I'm still learning that. And I'm not afraid to say it. Like, I'm going to make mistakes. Like, nobody's perfect. But I'm going to learn from them. And I'm not scared to try stuff. I'm not scared to be aggressive and do what we need to do as a basketball team on the court to help us win. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to try and do. And I want, I need Penn State. I need all of our fans. Like, I'm knocking on doors. I'm ringing doorbells. I'm kissing babies. I'm shaking hands when it's, when COVID allows it. I'm doing all of it because I need our fan base to help us, right? If we can rally this place and make the BJC tough, we're going to put a product out there to make them proud. But we need everybody behind us to help do that.
It's such a, as somebody who knows that community like I do, I think it's such an advantage, right? When you can create that community, it can propel that culture building for sure. One of the things, Coach, about, especially college coaches, but coaches at any level, is that through the coaching journey, it seems like you get to touch so many different aspects of the game, aspects of leading. You wear so many different hats, and that's why I love talking to elite coaches like yourself on Everybody Pulls the Tarp, because the Everybody Pulls the Tarp mindset, mantra, way of life is all predicated around people doing things that might be unglamorous on the surface, but make a huge impact. Maybe things that aren't in the job description as it's written, but play a huge role in the team or the organization's success. And, the more I talk to coaches, the more I understand just how much tarp pulling, as I like to call it, goes on. Last summer, Coach Tom Allen from Indiana football was here, and he told me, he said, Andrew, back when I was at programs that didn't have the budget and the personnel that we have in the Big Ten with at Indiana, I was the head coach, the OC, the DC. I striped the field. I cleaned the toilets. I was the team psychologist. I did it all. And what it's done is it's kept me humble. And it's also educated me on what I need to do to be successful. And also it gives me empathy and understanding when I'm hiring people in those roles. When you think about, you go all the way back those 20 years that you've been in coaching, what are some of the moments that maybe you've had in that context that, have shaped you as a coach?
You know what? It starts for me really as a player as well. I played Division III basketball, and there are fantastic players at Division III. There are fantastic coaches at Division III, but we're not on scholarship. We can come in with a class of 10 or 11 people, and it could end with 3. Because those are the guys that stuck it out and they stayed because of the love they have for the game. And that was part of it. I love basketball and I love this game. And I was willing to sacrifice those 4 years knowing that I wasn't going to play professionally. No, I knew my career was going to be over. But there were also things within that you just learn to do. We used to take vans to the game, and as a player, I used to drive them. I used to drive one of our vans to the game, in state and play. But that stuff there, I don't feel like anything's beneath me. I was in a Division III assistant coach when I first started out. I coached in Division II as a GA, and then I went to Division III, and I loved every part of it because I got a chance to do a lot of things. Our staff was myself and maybe one other guy, 2 other guys at these programs where you have to do everything, right? You have to get up and go and sweep the floors. You have to go and do laundry. You have to go and recruit, and then the next day come back and be doing academic checks. You're doing every single part of it, and that helps you grow. It helped me grow as a coach because I got a chance to experience a lot of different things, but then it helped me grow. And then I was a head coach. I set a goal to be a head coach by the time that I was 30. That was my goal when I left college. And I did it. I accomplished it. I got there. I was an NAIA head coach. And I was a head coach at IU South Bend. And you know what I did? I did laundry still. Right. After practice was over, I pushed the laundry in. I put it in every night, and then I got it out the next day or then that later on, and I dried it and put it right back into the locker room. And you did marketing, you did everything that that the program needed, and that's like you said, you're pulling the tarp because you're in charge. There's nobody to pass the buck to. It falls on you. So there's no job that you feel like it's beneath you. And then, I get a chance to go to Butler, and that was the same way. That was what we did. Part of the Butler way was doing your job, handling your responsibilities. And we did everything. Brad Stevens is out there sweeping the floor before practice. We're practicing at 6 a.m. and guys are out there doing whatever it took, whatever we needed to do to be successful. That's what the great programs are. And you don't always you got to lead from the front, and you got to be willing to do those things. And you got to be willing to show your players that you're willing to do whatever it takes to have a successful program.
Does that come from a place of wanting to be humble? Does it just come from a flat out passion for the game and a love for what you're doing? I mean, those nights when you think back and you got everything going on, you're loading the laundry machine, you're unloading the laundry machine. What is driving that?
I think a little bit of it is natural, right? If you don't love what you're doing, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, that's a thankless task. And if you need congratulatory praise or if you need pats on the back, you're not going to be as willing to do the things that it takes to really get there. I'm fortunate to be here. I'm fortunate to be the head coach at a Big Ten university. But I love doing it. it's the challenge of doing it each and every day. But then, like, I still have to remember that I got to delegate, to other people to do things. I can't do everything. And I try to do everything because that's how I was brought up, right? That's what we did at the Division III level. Those are the what I saw other coaches do. That's been ingrained in me for a long time. And I think it's, a little bit of kind of natural in how you are as a person, but it's also a little bit of that humility that you need to continue to grow and get better and advance in your career.
You mentioned the word delegate there. I'm always curious, what from your vantage point is the biggest difference between being a head coach and an assistant coach?
Wow. There's so much, like it's funny, like everything comes across your desk, right? Like, I had all these great suggestions when I was an assistant coach. I'm throwing out things left, right, or the other. But like if things didn't go well, like nobody was talking about me, and it didn't go well because of me. So like each decision that you make, like everything that happens in this program, at some point in time, it's going to come across your desk and you have to make decisions on that. And whether that's the academic piece of it and what we're going to do, or like what color uniforms we're going to have. And those are things you're not thinking of as an assistant coach. And you can grow you can go places. Like being at Purdue helped prepare me for this, right? It helped me because Coach Painter gives you a lot of responsibilities, but he doesn't give you everything. And there's still a lot that he is doing and taking care of, that now, I'm noticing that I'm doing and taking care of as well.
Another thing that just continues to strike me about college coaches in particular, relative to, and I'm sure you'll have a great view on this as someone who's coached, professionally as well, is that everything that is, everybody thinks that it's just, X's and O's, it's basketball or football or whatever it is that you're coaching. At the college level, you mentioned it a little bit before, there's the academic piece, there's the marketing, there's the recruiting, there's managing the alumni base, the donors, the everything. How do you even, begin to prioritize and balance all of that and still get the X's and O's done?
That part of it is really, like, I really struggled with that early on, when I first got here, like just trying to manage every single thing. And I had to make a lot of phone calls, to a lot of people that I know and trust that are head coaches. And, I'm scribbling down things left and right. Or you go through a day, like, when the first couple of weeks when I got here, like you work the entire day and it's like, man, I did a lot. But then you're like, what did I actually do? Coach Painter said, hey, write down everything and then start crossing it off. And then you look at the end of the day, like, okay, this is what I did. This is what I got accomplished. Like, he also gave me a great thing. And he said, only do the things that directly lead to winning. So some things I have to put on the back burner that they could be the most important thing to somebody, in our department. So, let's just throw something marketing out there. Like it could be the most important thing to them that day. But it could be like 7 or 8 on my list. And, I have to give them the proper attention. I have to give them my full attention and everything that it is, but also need to take care of it in the right order that it needs to be taken care of. And Dana, gosh, I'm so bad at this. The coach of Missouri State, Dana Ford, I talked to him at one point in time, and he said, you can't catch every raindrop. And that's what, you could do it. You can run around and try, but you're not going to. So the things that directly lead to winning need to be the most important things.
It's interesting, Coach. I think back a lot on a moment in my career where things were starting to take off for me professionally, and I felt like early in my career, I was this guy who walked out, every day and said, I made a lot of people happy. I solved everybody's problem. I met every need. And then I started to feel this shift, and I started to get more responsibility and a lot more on my plate. And I would say, wow, I don't think I made anybody happy today, but I feel like I did a lot of work. And one day I'm sitting there and I got my hands kind of in my head and my face in my hands, and an advisor, kind of mentor, walks in. He says, what's going on, Andrew? And I tell him, and I ask him for his advice, and he says, I don't have advice for you, but I do have this. And he puts out his hand and he shakes my hand and he says, welcome to a successful career. and what his message was, the more success you have, the more responsibility, the broader the responsibilities, the more tarp you're going to have to pull. And that you're not always in the people pleasing business. You're trying to accomplish an objective for something bigger than yourself. And I remember that story. I think about that a lot. That story in particular. Welcome to a successful career, he said.
I can definitely feel him on that. And, but what we try to please everybody, right? We feel like we can do it. And no matter what decisions you make, you can't make everybody happy. So, in all of my thoughts and everything that I'm thinking about, I have to do what's best for Penn State basketball. And I have to do what's best for our players. And then I need to try and help our alumni of this program, like, really have success. And then I need to make them proud in what we do and how we go about representing them. But I need to take care of the guys in our locker room first and foremost. And, decisions that are made with those guys in mind first and foremost. And then I need to do what's right by Penn State. And then if it upsets people, I'm sorry. But I'm trying to help those guys have a outstanding, college experience.
Absolutely. And when you think about those guys that are in the locker room and will be in the locker room at Penn State, what do you think is the best, asset that you bring from your experience in the NBA? Like what can you bring from the NBA experience that can be super, super beneficial to these guys competing at the college level?
I think, just like I just talked about, every decision that we make was for the players. People talk about a players program, and you have to take care of those guys the best way you can. Your decisions that you make on how you travel, or decisions that you make on when you practice, or what you're going to do, like what we're eating each day, like, it has to benefit them, in the long run. Like, those things go into it for them to be, high peak performing athletes. We have to take care of them in that manner. And that's what they do at the NBA level. Everything is tailored that way. But we also need to do that in the way that we manage practice, the way that we take the time for those guys to have time to get their academics straight, right? Like we have to do all of that. Like, so the thought process is taking care of them, number one. And then I think that goes into, if you're doing that, if you're giving everything that you have to make them better, like on the court, in the classroom, in life, helping them grow, helping them develop during their time here. If you're investing everything that you have towards that, I think it cuts into the transfer portal, right? Like that's a big issue right now. But if I'm investing everything I have in these kids, like, are they, less likely to transfer? There's still going to be some, right? Like, everybody can't play. You can't play 13 guys. You can't play 13 scholarship players. Like, people are going to be unhappy for certain reasons, but they're not going to be unhappy based on how we treated them and based on the investment that we put into them. So if we're doing that, like, I can look somebody in the eye and say, I gave you everything I had. Like, and if you choose to still leave, that's okay, because I feel good about what we did and how we invested in each and every person.
How do you show people as a leader that you are fully invested in them?
You know what, we have, if we have 13 scholarship players and we have 2 to 3 walk-ons, I think you have to treat number 1 and number 16 exactly the same. Like I said, we're investing in them as people. We're investing in them as players, and how we do it. I think part of that is, my personality. Like I'm gonna treat people the right way, right? That's one of the number one things for me is I'm gonna look out for people. I'm gonna take care of people. I'm gonna treat people the right way. And if I'm doing that now, everybody can't be treated the same as players on the court. Right? You might not get the same treatment, but I'm gonna work you out the same exact way. Like I'm gonna have a plan for you the same exact way that we make you better. What we do off the court makes you better, and that's like, that's the goal. That's I took a lot of time to hire my staff because I wanted guys who were going to put in that same investment, who were going to build up this program the same exact way, who were going to love our guys the same exact way. And that was important to me, the people that we have around them, the people that we surround our program with.
It seems almost like as a leader, it's the word that keeps coming to my mind as I listen to you there, Coach, is like the word respect. Like as a leader, you respect every one of those players, and therefore you're going to work them out. You're going to practice them the exact same way. You're going to give them all the same opportunity to be successful, each of them.
Each and every one of them. And, that's, you talk about things that you take from people. And like, I took those things from Brad Stevens. I take those things from a Matt Painter. Like I don't promise any of these guys. And sometimes maybe it hurts me when I'm recruiting. But I can't promise anybody that they're going to play, come in and play 39, 40 minutes a night right away. You have to earn it the same way that the next guy earns it. And now you may be a better player and you have the same opportunity. You go out and you do it. Maybe it's easy for you to earn it. But if I promise you something and then you don't earn it, like how can I look the next guy in the eye and tell him he's getting the same opportunity? So I think that creates a healthy respect right there. When people are competing for something instead of being given something, I think it creates a respect in the locker room between all of those guys as well, because they know, the people that are playing have earned that playing time.
But before I let you go, Coach, I want to talk about the name, image, and likeness stuff, because I think that's going to be, it's obviously a great opportunity for players. It's a great opportunity, especially for players at Penn State, with such a prolific fan base and media market. How does it affect the way you lead when you have essentially players that are going to have different opportunities coming their way, and that's going to just create maybe disparity in the opportunities that some players get and some players don't? How do you deal with that, or how do you plan to deal with that? This is a new frontier.
Yeah, no, it is a new frontier. But we talked to those guys early on. We sat down, before the day started. When the rule went into effect, we sat down and had a team meeting and really talked about, everybody's opportunity. Like how do you promote your brand? But how do you still do that as a good teammate? And those are things that we talked about. I told those guys that I want them to really try and promote themselves the right way to have those opportunities. I said, it's on me, right, to sell our team, to push our team, to advance our team. And if a guy is going out and he's getting more than you, you can't look at that the wrong way, because his brand is a little bit stronger than yours. Like I said, we all have the same opportunity, but some people may get a little bit more. But let us promote the team, and we'll do it. Like everything I'm going to talk about is about our team. I'm going to push our team. I'm going to focus on our team, and allow those guys to really use their brand for themselves to help each other. But then also, like, as I'm using the brand, part of that is being a good teammate. Like, it's okay for me to celebrate what my teammates are doing. Like, that helps my brand, right? If I'm only talking about me on every single post and my teammates are having success and I don't say anything about it, or I don't play well and I don't mention them or, give them some love, then yeah, maybe it says a little bit more about you as a person, and maybe these companies don't want to be involved in that. So, like, you can promote your brand and still be a good teammate at the same time. But I told them to do as much as you want, be who you are, promote your brand. I'll promote our team and our culture and what we're going to do as a program.
One of the things I've learned, Coach, on this journey, everybody pulls the tarp, and people get excited and believe in people who think team first and are willing to be humble and willing to do whatever it takes. And so I think you're giving those guys fantastic, advice that's going to serve them well long term. Coach, this has been such a fun 30 minutes for me as a Penn State alumni. I know all the listeners are learning a ton from you. Look, I think Penn State is in great hands, Coach Shrewsberry, and I can't wait to see you guys cutting down nets at some point here in the not too distant future. And as soon as the COVID crisis allows, I will be up there in Happy Valley cheering you guys on as loud as I possibly can. So thank you for spending some time with me, and keep pulling that tarp, Coach.
I appreciate you having me on, and we're going to do it. We're going to cut some nets down, and we're going to make all the Penn Staters proud in how we do it, how we go about it, and let's start right now. Everybody's got to pull the tarp and get it done.
That's right, Coach. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. Take care, my friend.
Thank you.